Okay, so I want to start with a phrase that I think we've all heard at some point,
Oh, yeah.
maybe from a parent, maybe a teacher, or, let's be real, maybe from an ex during an argument last week.
I think we know the one.
Stop acting like a child.
There it is. It's the ultimate shutdown, isn't it?
It is. It's just shorthand for you're being irrational or irresponsible or maybe just you're embarrassing me.
Right. The assumption is that adulthood is the goal. Childhood is this messy thing we have to get over.
Exactly. But the source material we're digging into today suggests that that whole idea might be completely backward.
Or at least, dangerously incomplete. What this research argues is that in our rush to be serious adults, we've sort of amputated parts of ourselves.
Parts that are actually essential.
Essential for high-functioning survival, yeah.
And just to be super clear for everyone listening, because I know where your mind goes, we're not talking about regression.
No.
We're not saying you should throw a tantrum in your next board meeting.
No, and the text is very explicit about this. It draws a line between being childish, that's the immaturity of the narcissism, and being childlike.
Okay, that's the key distinction.
It is. The whole argument here is that being childlike is actually a form of nervous system restoration.
Hmm.
It's not about going back. It's about recovering tools we do.
Unlearned.
Unlearned. That's a great way to put it. So our mission today is to unpack what those tools are, things like presence, emotional honesty,
Curiosity.
and figure out how we can integrate them back into our very adult lives without, getting fired.
That's the challenge. Integration. But let's start with the first big one, which the source calls presence.
Yeah, this one really hit me. The text draws this contrast between the child state of attention
Sure.
and the adult state.
I mean, just picture a toddler. You see a kid with a bug or a block. They are completely single-threaded.
Right, their whole universe is that one thing.
The block is the only thing that exists.
Must be nice. It's incredibly efficient. But now compare that to the adult state. The source calls this the split attention trap.
Which basically means we are never fully here.
Never. We're physically in one place, but mentally we're time traveling. We're constantly splitting our cognitive resources.
Between past regret and future anxiety. That's the line that got me.
That's it. You're in a meeting, but you're replaying an email you sent while also planning for a tough conversation you might have tomorrow.
And we wear that like a badge of honor, don't we? We call it multitasking.
Or being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
But the source material sees it as a metabolic drain. And that's the key. This isn't just some spiritual idea, it's biological.
How so?
When you're running those background apps, regret.exe and futurepanic.exe, you are burning glucose. You're taxing your system.
Ah.
The child's ability to be present isn't just cute, it's an efficiency mechanism. They process data without the lag of anxiety.
So if I'm hearing you right, the adult brain is it's constantly overheating because we have too many tabs open.
That is a perfect analogy.
Uh,
And the result is we actually think worse. The text says that when we manage to get back to that default presence,
Yeah.
we think more clearly.
Why, though?
Because you're not filtering this moment through a layer of fear about the next one.
There's also a line in the notes about defensiveness. It says presence reduces it. How does that work?
Well, think about it. Defensiveness is usually a reaction to a story you're telling yourself, not what's actually happening in the room.
Okay.
So if I critique your work and you're present, you hear, this specific sentence needs a rewrite. But if you're in that split attention trap, you hear, this is bad, just like that project I messed up last year, which means I'm probably going to get fired.
Wow. Yeah. You're reacting to the future, not the feedback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Presence just. It clears the cache. It stops us from dragging old baggage into every new interaction.
It's direct experience instead of interpreted experience.
You got it.
Okay, but let's push back on this a little because the next trait they talk about is emotional honesty. And I have to play devil's advocate. If I were truly emotionally honest at my job, I think I'd be escorted out by security.
I think that's the fear, for sure. But we have to look at how the source defines that honesty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about acting out. It's about the internal mechanism.
Okay, distinguish those for me. Because a kid being emotionally honest is usually them screaming because their banana broke.
That's the behavior, right? But look at the mechanism. A child feels something. Frustration, joy, whatever. They feel it fully, the signal hits, they express it, and then, and this is the most important part, they move on.
It's over.
It's a clean burn.
A clean burn. I like that phrase.
The adult malfunction, according to the text, is intellectualization. We feel something, And before we even let ourselves feel it, we judge it.
Oh, I do this all the time. I'll say, I shouldn't be angry, he didn't mean it, or I don't have time to be sad about this.
Exactly. You're analyzing the feeling instead of experiencing it. The source says this doesn't make the feeling disappear. It just shoves it into a closet.
You bottle it up.
And that suppression builds up as chronic stress. The child regulates quickly because the signal flows through them. The adult blocks the signal.
So the tantrum isn't the point.
No, for an adult, emotional honesty isn't throwing the tantrum. It's just acknowledging the signal. It's saying to yourself, wow, I am really angry right now, without judgment.
And the source says that people who can do that, they recover from stress faster.
Much faster. It's about latency. You reduce the lag time between the feeling and the processing. If you suppress anger for 3 months, it explodes over something stupid. That's childish.
But acknowledging I'm frustrated in the moment and maybe setting a boundary because of it.
That's functional. That's incredibly mature.
This flows really nicely into the next section, which is all about learning. The source calls it curiosity, but I think flexibility is a better word.
They're two sides of the same coin, really.
Yeah.
The source defines curiosity here not just as wonder, but as a system for keeping your entire worldview flexible.
And the comparison they make is that kids ask questions before they have an answer.
While adults, we tend to do the reverse. We need the certainty first. We decide what we think, and then we go looking for evidence that we're right. It's pure confirmation bias.
Kids don't have enough history to have confirmation bias yet.
They're just collecting raw data.
There's a really deep point here about identity, and I think this is where we get stuck. The text says kids adapt so fast because they aren't invested in fixed identities.
Yes, the identity-free iteration idea. Think about a kid building a tower of blocks. It falls over. The kid doesn't think, I am a terrible architect. I am fundamentally flawed.
No, they just think the tower fell down. The failure is about the object, not them.
Right. But if my presentation at work flops, I don't say the presentation failed. I say, I am a failure.
Yeah, we attach our ego to the outcome.
And once the ego is attached, you become rigid. You can't try new things because the cost of failure is suddenly your self-image.
So the childlike trait is being able to fail without it being an indictment of your soul.
Yes. It keeps the feedback loop going. Try, fail, adjust, try again. Adults break that loop because we're terrified of the fail part. And the text says that rigidity just makes us dumber. We cling to old ideas because they feel safe even when they're not working anymore.
Which brings us to play. And again, play is a tough sell for the productivity obsessed. It sounds frivolous, like a waste of time.
And that is precisely why we need it. The source defines play very specifically. It's how the brain integrates information and restores balance.
Okay, integration again, unpack that for me. How does, like, building with Legos integrate complex information?
Think of it as a simulation with low stakes. Kids at play are often mimicking reality. They're testing social rules, physics, risk, but in a safe container.
So it's like a sandbox mode for your brain.
It's totally a sandbox mode, and the source argues the adult brain desperately needs this. If you are always in execution mode, always focused on the goal, you never give your brain the space to make those creative lateral connections.
This is where they bring up embodied intelligence, isn't it? The idea that we've become like heads on a stick.
Totally. We trust spreadsheets, but we don't trust our own gut feeling or experience.
We want to read the manual on how to ride a bike.
And you can't. You have to get on and feel the wobble. That's procedural knowledge, knowing how. Adults get obsessed with propositional knowledge, knowing that.
But we love the manual. We want the full roadmap before we even start a project.
Which is paralysis by analysis.
Right.
We overplan because we don't trust our own ability to adapt on the fly. Reclaiming that childlike trust and experience lets you act more decisively.
It's a shift from ready, aim, fire to...
Ready, fire, adjust.
Yeah. It's trusting that if the bike wobbles, you'll figure it out. You don't need to pre-calculate the wobble.
Exactly. And the benefits are huge. More creativity, better problem solving, and this is a big one, reduced burnout. Play is the antidote to the grind.
Okay, so we've got presence, emotional honesty, curiosity, and play. But now we have to land the plane. Because I can hear someone listening right now saying, this is all nice, but I have a mortgage, I have a team, I can't just float around being playful.
And they're right, you can't abandon adult responsibilities. The source is so clear about this. The goal is not to become a child. The goal is integration.
It's the yes and.
It is the yes and. The most effective, resilient people are the ones who can hold both things at once. Adult structure plus childlike openness.
The text lists some of these pairings. Wisdom with curiosity, responsibility with play.
My favorite one is boundaries with softness.
That one really stops you, because usually you think of boundaries as hard walls.
Right, keep out signs.
Yeah.
But a hard wall, if you hit it with enough force, it shatters. A flexible material absorbs the impact.
So a leader who has strong boundaries, they know the goal, but they're soft in how they listen to feedback.
That person is resilient. That person is effective. It's the difference between a leader who screams when something goes wrong, which is childish, and one who gets curious about why it went wrong, which is childlike.
Yeah.
The source argues that when we lose these childlike traits, we don't just become serious, we become rigid, anxious, and punitive.
Rigid, anxious, and punitive. I mean, that feels like a pretty good description of a lot of modern life.
It does, but the flip side is the hopeful part. When we reclaim these things, our systems, our families, our companies, they become more humane. Conflict gets easier to solve. Innovation speeds up.
It brings us back to that word from the start, restoration. We're not trying to invent something new. We're trying to fix a bug in the system.
Out of the perfect framing, we are designed to be curious and to feel. Suppressing that isn't maturity, it's a glitch. We're operating outside of our design specs.
And there's that ripple effect I mentioned at the end. This isn't just about us. It's about the actual kids around us.
Oh, absolutely. If you're raising children, you can't guide them through a landscape you've forgotten how to navigate yourself. If you are emotionally suppressed, you can only teach suppression.
So by fixing our own adultidius, we actually become better parents, better leaders.
We model what a whole healthy human looks like.
So to wrap this all up, we started with the insult, stop acting like a child. But after this, it feels like the best advice might actually be start acting like a child in the right ways.
It's the ultimate upgrade. It's reclaiming the full bandwidth of what it means to be human.
I love that. So here's a final thought for all of you listening. The next time you're in one of those high-stakes moments, a tough negotiation, a stressful meeting,
Just notice your default setting. Are you getting hard? Are you armoring up?
and then ask yourself, what if that hardness isn't a strength, but a system error? What if softness, what if openness is actually the most efficient strategy for survival?
How would you handle that moment differently?
Would you defend your point to the death?
Or would you get curious? It's a scary switch to flip. But the data here says it's worth it. Thanks for diving deep with us.